And hello, everybody. My name's Nadernejad, and I'm the director of Nadernejad Media Incorporated. I'm here today with Yan, also sometimes known as Charles, and we're going to be talking about online reputation management today, as we often do on this channel. We'll be talking about more than just online reputation management in North America. We're going to be focusing on a specific market today. We're going to be focusing on China. And now, making videos on this channel, I've often focused on a few various markets, and I've had a couple of clients in China before, but honestly, this is new information to me. And I always love to learn more about the online reputation management industry and how it works around the world. And Yan booked a meeting on my calendar just a couple weeks ago. And when I noticed it rolled in, he said, I really want to have a talk about online reputation management and PR. Would it be okay if we had a conversation? And I thought this would be fantastic because, as I said, I always love to learn more. And Yan bringing a whole new, different, experience to the field, I thought would be just very helpful. So we had that quick initial chat. We shared some great information. Obviously, working on two different time zones. I'm here in the morning. I'm 8 a.m. Halifax time. What time is it there, Yan, on your end?
Uh, it's 7 in the evening.
7 in the evening. Okay, so we're almost 12 hours apart, and we're finding a way to make it work. And I'm really happy you can join us here today. Thanks so much.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for your invitation.
Absolutely. So for a bit of background, Yan has spent 10 years in the PR field. So has spent that decade working with his Beijing company. He mentions it's a small group known as Power BJ or Power Beijing. And he specializes in crisis management, working for medical companies, several medical companies, working for high-tech companies, and in various other sectors in B2B, education, manufacturing, and so much more. So Yan, again, thanks so much for joining us today. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about how you got started in crisis management and what you've come to learn over the years?
Okay. So for me, when I was graduated from university, I choose work and just because I was interested in like in on the internet, so I choose a company. In PR, I can say it's randomly. So I entered this field. Then I found it was interesting, quite interesting and challengeable for me to work in this field, and I can met people in different industries. I always learn new things. So for me, I like this way of working and gaining knowledge.
Absolutely. So we both work in online reputation management, of course, in two very different markets. I'm interested in what are some of the typical problems or issues that clients are looking for solutions to. What do they come to you with in China?
So in China, we have we have a really big market that we have lots of huge brand in different industries. We also have personal brand. So what I'm doing is quite focusing on is like a business brand, not personal. So the most common thing happen to a brand is usually that some negative news. For example, if it's like a food or beverage, we always found like people get sick after having their food, or even for some extreme situation. For example, I searched for a elevator company is 西子 Autis. So it happened, I think it was like 10 years ago that elevator was broken, then got a person died. So it's very serious.
Mhm.
So we always facing different kind of negative information for different brands. So with the only I can say the only search engine we use is Baidu.com instead of Google in the world. So we can and nowadays we have a lot of other news apps to use that we can receive the push from the app that some extreme things happening. So that would be the ways the brand are facing.
Absolutely. And last time we talked a little bit about Baidu and how search engine optimization in Chinese is a little bit different. So when you're looking at negative content, I often look at negative content on the first page of Google. How do you do SEO optimization or look at fixing first page negative search results on the Baidu search engine?
Okay, so usually we do a monitoring work first. So actually it was before the negative things happen. So once we found it happen, we do analysis of the situation to depend the level, to the different level. Usually we have 3 levels, maybe the high, the medium, and the tiny parts. So with different level, we have different solutions. So typically we use the positive contents with like a heavy rank media or a journal to publish, and like to re-rank all the informations on the searching result. So also we have other ways to like to delete or to block information from the news. So that would be help to make a better searching result.
Absolutely. And can you go over some of the tactics that you might use when you notice, let's say, a medium or high level reputation crisis occurs? Let's say in this situation, it's a mainstream news story.
Yeah, so I would like to divide this part into two parts. So the first would be the content. So usually we have different ways to create content for different industry, like for different brand in different industries. So we usually have to add the keywords in the headline. And also we have to arrange different, like the percentage of the keywords appears in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end. Yeah, so this is like a simple way how we create content. Then we choose the media that we want to publish. So in China, we have some like really strong, heavy ranking media like Sina.com, like people.com is the government media. So if we could publish the content into this kind of media, it usually goes to higher ranking. So we also have, but those higher ranking media usually can cost you a lot. It's expensive. And also with our 10 years experience in this field, we can like smartly choose or select some media with low cost, but with better ranking. So this is where we help client to save money and get a better result.
Absolutely. And just listening to that explanation, I'm hearing the overlap as well, because we do the same thing. We will edit the H1 tag to make sure that, because a lot of this negative media, it's not optimized for the H1 tag or the title. It would be like company, food makes somebody sick, but it won't have the company's name. So we can use that by optimizing for the title, in the tags, in the middle and ends of the article. So I definitely see some overlap there, which is interesting. I'm interested in how long typical campaigns take for your clients. I mean, do you work on just the crisis management? Let's say if someone approached you with an issue and says, I need help right now. How long would a typical campaign take?
It could be in like 2 or 3 days, or it could be last for months or even by a whole year.
Mm-hmm.
So the different people or different company have different needs. They have different demands actually. For sometimes once they get a crisis happen, they found that they need a consultant, they need a company to help solve the problem. But for some kinds of companies, they have this mind in like crisis management. Like, for example, what if a crisis happened? So they have they have to do a preparation. So they ask for like consultant work first. So if we do something before that happen, it helps us to optimize more fast with a faster speed. For example, we can prepare like usually we prepare 10 or 15 articles for a brand before any negative things happen. So once that it happens, then we could publish like in an hour or in 2 hours. Then usually after like 6 or 7 hours, it is finished. Like a small campaign is finished. Yeah.
That was exactly what I was going to ask, and that's funny because I was actually thinking about that the other day. I thought in the event of a reputation management crisis, and I was also thinking from our brand as well, what would we do? And the biggest thing is to have content ready to go, because that's often the most time-consuming thing when you have to write 5,000 words and then send them to publish within 1 month. If you already have them ready, then you have a proactive reputation management solution. So that's great. So in terms of preparing content or preparing a proactive and preventative online reputation management strategy for corporations, how do you set that up? Do clients come to you and ask for that service, or do you market that service yourself? And the reason why I'm asking is because I realize in our market, at least, there's a lack of awareness around the value of online reputation management services. I think a lot of companies understand, but at the same time, a lot of people don't know the services available in this way.
Yes, I think for most of the brands in China, they know that the reputation management work is offered by all the big agencies. But in China, I believe that people only believe who they already recognize. Or for example, I know you before, then I know you can offer this kind of service. So once I have this requirement, I'll reach you in the first time. So I think it's kind like in the relations between like the Chinese personality maybe. So people do not want the negative things get known by too many like strangers or other agencies, because the agencies they have to like be the competitors for each other. So like for example, your negative information got known by 5 agencies. They maybe fight with your information to get your maybe to get your budget, to get your contract maybe. Like this is usually not a good thing.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about. I'm interested in the business culture as well, because you mentioned that a lot of companies don't want to share information with strangers or people they don't really know. A lot of people who reach out to us cold, and that's both individuals, customers, and businesses. And so it's generally our first conversation with them. And what we do is we build a relationship over a period of time, but starting from, I guess, from scratch, building your own company and possibly not having as many contacts. What did you do to network, and how did you get known in your field?
Yeah, I think for big companies, they usually have an open bidding procedure for a campaign. So all the agencies can get the information on their website openly, or they can get emails and for invitation for the bidding process. So I can say for medium or small size of business, they really don't have a good way to find the proper agencies to do their PR work or to their reputation work. So they usually so the circle, the personnel circle in PR in China is really small, I can say. So like in this circle, we can know a lot of people, and usually one person work for agency A, sometimes jump to agency B. So it's an easy way to get a lot of people connected.
Oh, great.
It's different from the Western world, I think, that not many agencies have their website and have their introduction material. And I think there are over 2,000 agencies in Beijing. Oh, and like
Is it
1,000
reputation
agencies died.
PR agency?
Sorry,
Is this the number of reputation and PR agencies or agencies in
no,
total?
agencies, the companies in total in Beijing only, not all not. And in Shanghai we have more like 2,000, 3,000. Also we have some more in Shenzhen.
Well, that's interesting. What are some of your business differentiators? What makes your business different from those other 2,000 companies out there?
To be honest, we can in certain ways we are alike actually. That one different thing is that we can offer a better service with a less cost. I mean the cost effective the service.
And that goes back to, I think you mentioned finding cost-effective publishers. When you create content, you find high-ranking, powerful websites that come at a better cost, and that's definitely a great thing to look at.
Yeah.
How do you look at building relationships with publishers to publish your positive content?
Okay. There are typically two ways. The first would be that we have a connection with the journalists or editors directly. So once we have some contents published, we can find the person in this field might be interested in. So we can share the content with the journalist or the editor to see if he would like to share. And in the other ways, we just simply like buying a publishment. Like it's more like advertisement ways of doing this work.
Absolutely.
So for each media, it has a certain price. So it's usually range from like a hundred yuan, 100 CNY is about like 100 in Canadian dollars maybe.
So there's a range for publishing costs. It's great to know. And then you also mentioned that there are some monitoring tools that you use, and I imagine both social media and web monitoring tools are different in China, but some may also be the same. We use SEMrush and Moz, and we use some of our own tools. But do you mind sharing some of the tools that you found helpful for your clients?
Yes, I had the experience in using a Meltwater platform. Is a international wide, a global ways to monitoring the information, not only in mainland China but all over the world. But the price is a little bit high, but not all the brands or companies wants to pay for it. We also have some local brand, but I would like to recommend to use the platforms built by some certain big medias, but because they have their awareness and usually their goes with the lower price, and so we can use these platforms to monitor news, forums, social medias, TikTok and WeChat, Weibo, or some other platforms. Yeah.
And that
It's
tool
quite
again,
yeah.
did you say it was Meltwater? What's it called?
Some Meltwater.
Meltwater. I've heard of them. Okay.
Yeah.
I was speaking to a Meltwater agent on the phone. They had actually called me. I don't know how I even got into their funnel, but that I'm gonna have to check out that tool because I know a lot of people have mentioned it in the past. And now we also use classic Google brand alerts as well, just kind of at the foundation of monitoring. Do you have a similar sort of brand alert in Baidu?
In Baidu, I'm afraid not, because Baidu offers some certain of product, but it's usually like you have to pay to use. There's no free ways to use.
Well, yeah, that's great to know. Let's say if you had a megaphone right now and you could speak to every corporation looking for online reputation management solutions, or wanted to know at least one thing they could do today that's actionable. to help them with their online reputation? What advice would you give them?
So the first one would be the always pay attention to their brand and the product to make sure they are offering a qualified like product or service to people. And second one, like they could monitoring not only their brand but also the competitors in their industry to see what happened to their competitors. Like it can gain some experience, like to monitor the way your competitor how to solve their problem. So it could be you're one of the case studies for you. So the third one is you have to get a relationship between a reputation management company. And so once you have the demands, so it will take minutes for you to find a solution or a suggestion for you. Yeah.
That's great. And then I imagine it's helpful to have your experience of knowing all the things that can go wrong with an online reputation, to be able to plan, to be proactive, to figure out solutions about what can happen. So you mentioned one of those proactive strategies was to create articles, to set up brand alerts and monitoring. Is there any other way we can be proactive about our reputations just to make sure bad things don't happen in the future?
Oh, actually, I have two suggestions. So one is we can have our self media platforms registered by ourselves. So it means we have like 10 or 20 journals to publish information by us for free. So we do have some self media like Facebook in the West. We have Weibo, and you have Twitter, right? So the other way is like there is a service called pre-monitoring. It's like you hire someone or some agencies with really good relationship with the journalists or editors in your industry. So for medias, they usually have a weekly meeting on Monday to discuss which ways to find content. So if there gonna be any potential damage, like potential brand damage content, so the journalist or the editor can share the information with you, so you can do something in advance. So you have like 2 days or 3 days ahead before the things happen, or even if you did something really well, then you can change the content with another one to help to build your brand.
So this is a pre-monitoring service, and how is that set up? How is that organized between, let's say, a multitude of news platforms and an organization? Like, who does the monitoring? How does it work?
So usually this goes with the journalists themselves. It cannot be used by any online platforms or machines. It's people by people service. So for companies and brands, you have to find a company or an agency specialized in your industry. So they have connection with all the, like, for example, for high tech industry, we have relationship like from all the high tech platforms. I mean the medias. So we have their contact information. We have their moments on WeChat. So we keep a like a daily, weekly communication about what is happening. So what would be the interest in the coming weekend. So by the daily conversation, we could see that if there would be some potential negative things happen in the field or something, we can know that. So we can do an alert to our client.
Well, I appreciate it, yeah. Thanks so much for sharing all the information with me and for speaking about your experience. Just before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you, is there anything that you wanted to mention or share with our audience that might be helpful?
Oh, this is a big question actually. So what I would like to share would be like really tiny part, but sometimes it's quite useful. Is that we could always pay attention to your content. Like we have to like oh like let's say we have to I would like to give you advice that you always pay attention to your content and your competitors' content. For sometimes your competitors' content would be your content someday. You just simply quickly change the keywords of the brand or the name, and you get your content instead. Like for some emergency situation, you can do it that way.
So,
So
sorry to interrupt. Would you mind walking me through how to do that step by step?
okay. For example, you find an article like company A has a extremely awesome human resource like what it's not related to the brand or to the product. It's about like just a comprehensive thing, or it's just a certain thing with not that significant contents inside. So like company A has a new HR department regulation, or company A like to pay higher salaries to these certain kind of people. So for the contents inside, like company A is good, and company A in this industry has a huge demand of the certain people who graduate from universities like this level, and in the end company A will continuing having or attracting people like to work. So for this kind of articles, you can just save them and quickly change the name by the findings. You can find their keywords and change to your keywords. So a
Uh,
new content comes out.
so you can create another article using their best performing content.
Yes.
That's great. There's a tool that I use for this sometimes. I'm not sure if you heard of it. It's very popular. It's called BuzzSumo.
Oh, I've never heard about that.
Well, like BUZZ and then just sumo, like sumo wrestler. But it's a great tool and it'll show you some of the most recent. It does a bit of monitoring, but it'll also do the most recent popular media for certain keywords and give you the elements of the article that make it so popular. So you can recreate it based on what's trending, kind of like this, the zeitgeist of
Yeah,
what's going
sounds
on.
really cool.
I
Yeah.
love that tool. But no, that's really great information. I really appreciate you, Yan, taking the time for booking our first meeting and for doing this short little interview together. And it's been really great getting to know you and learn about your company and your expertise. So thanks so much.
Okay. Thanks. My pleasure. And I'm happy to do that. Yeah.